want movie review? Fisher's got the view. Do you want movie review? Come and get the realest crew. Do you want movie review? Can make it brand new. Do you want movie review? We got facts and feelings too.
We all know that saying, O2 to Pinot.
Yeah.
But today we're diving into a story that really flips that idea on its head. It's about this Netflix documentary called Con Mum. And, let's just say the review we've been looking at is packed with some seriously unbelievable twists.
Oh, yeah. This one is a doozy. It's all about Graham Hornigold. He's this London-based pastry chef.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, after 45 years, he reconnects with his mother. Well, that's what she says, at least.
Yeah.
And the story from there, well, it's something else entirely. We're going to try to unpack all of that based on what this review tells us.
Right. The reviewer makes it pretty clear right off the bat that this isn't your typical heartwarming reunion story. Like, it goes in a completely different direction. So first, I guess we should get a sense of who Graham is, before all of this goes down. What kind of picture does the review paint of his early life?
Well, it sounds like he had a pretty rough childhood. Growing up, Graham never actually knew his biological mother. And on top of that, his dad struggled with alcoholism. There was even some domestic abuse happening.
Oh.
Yeah, it paints a picture of a childhood marked by some pretty serious trauma.
And the lack of that maternal connection, well, it's hard to imagine the impact that has on someone, especially as a kid.
Absolutely. Like, you can almost feel that longing for a mother figure, right?
Yeah.
So after all this time, what brings this mother back into the picture after 45 years?
Okay, so 45 years go by, and suddenly this woman named Diane Marie Hannah pops up. Claims to be Graham's mother, right? The review digs into how she managed to convince him, and it's pretty wild. Apparently, she drops all these specific details, things that, you'd think only a biological mother would know.
So, really personal stuff.
Exactly. It created this feeling of wow, this must be real. For Graham, I mean, think about it. He's been searching for that connection his whole life, and suddenly, boom, here it is, all wrapped up in this incredible story.
But of course, there's always a but with these things,
Yeah.
right? What does the review say about how this reunion takes a turn for the unbelievable? Oh, yeah. This is where things get really wild. So Diane starts making these pretty outlandish claims. She says she's get this, the illegitimate daughter of the Sultan of Brunei.
Whoa.
Right. Talk about a bombshell and, what comes with being the daughter of a sultan. That's right. A ton of money. She claims to be ridiculously wealthy.
I mean, who wouldn't be at least a little tempted by that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. She then tells Graham that she's, terminally ill, only has 6 months to live, and she wants to leave her entire fortune to him.
Wow, that's a lot to process. On one hand, there's the promise of all this wealth, but on the other hand, you're also dealing with the impending loss of this newfound mother. That's a heavy emotional burden, too.
Totally. And remember, Graham's whole life has been marked by this absence of a mother figure. So now he has this chance to connect, but with this, ticking clock hanging over it. It's a really intense situation.
I bet. So what does Graham do? I mean, how does he react to all of this?
Well, he does what I think a lot of people might do in that situation. He jumps in, head first. He starts spending a ton of time with Diane, even starts putting his own money into some of her, let's call them business ventures.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it puts a huge strain on his relationship with his partner, Heather, and even impacts his own child. He's so wrapped up in all of this that, he's kind of losing sight of everything else. The review really stresses how much he wanted this mother figure in his life and how it might have blinded him to what was really going on.
That's so sad. He's trying to rebuild this family, and it's all based on, what we know now is a lie. How does the truth finally come out?
Heather's actually the one who starts to see the cracks in Diane's story. She digs into some of the details, specifically Diane's marriage records. And wouldn't you know it, there are all these inconsistencies, different fathers listed, constant name changes, the whole 9 yards.
So it wasn't just one little fib, it was this whole elaborate scheme.
Exactly. Diane was not who she said she was. In fact, it turns out she was a professional con artist. Her entire life story, the Sultan of Brunei, the wealth, the illness, all of it was all made up.
Man, that's just next level deception. So what happens to Graham after all this comes out? I mean, the financial hit alone must have been devastating.
Well, yeah, the financial part is bad. He ends up in a ton of debt. But the review really focuses on the emotional toll this takes on Graham. I mean, imagine being in his shoes. You finally found this mother you've longed for your whole life, only to find out it was all a lie.
It's like having a rug pulled out from under you, but times 1,000.
Exactly. And the review is very clear that Graham isn't the one to blame here. Like, Deanne was good at what she did. She presented herself as this kind, elderly woman, someone you'd want to trust.
Yeah. It's just a reminder that even the most careful people can be fooled, especially when someone's playing on their deepest desires. And it sounds like there's even more to this story than we know. The review mentions that the documentary kind of glosses over how Diane managed to scam all these financial institutions.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Like, how did she pull that off? Was it just her incredible ability to spin a good yarn? Or were there weaknesses in the systems that, she was able to exploit? The reviewer seems to think there might be more to this story there, something that the documentary didn't quite get into.
So after this whole deep dive, what's the big takeaway here?
I think it's a story about betrayal, but also about vulnerability. Graham's desire for a mother's love made him a perfect target for someone like Diane.
Right. And the fact that Diane was able to deceive so many people, including banks and financial institutions, really makes you think, like, how do we protect ourselves from these kinds of scams? And how do we reconcile that need for connection with the fact that, that there are people out there who will take advantage of that?
I think those are questions we all need to grapple with. The reviewer ends with this thought, about the mystery surrounding Diane and how she managed to pull this off. It leaves you wanting to dig deeper, to understand the whole picture.
It makes you wonder, right? Like, is there even more to uncover here? I think it's definitely worth checking out the documentary itself to see if we can piece together some of those missing pieces.